Introducing the Open Palm Podcast with host Jerome Shaw, available today on your favorite podcast platforms. The Open Palm Podcast is a positive, uplifting, motivational, and inspirational podcast. The host brings his insight and philosophy, and you can't help but gravitate towards his smile, his words, and his wisdom. Again, the podcast he hosts is titled The Open Palm Podcast. It's about inspirational messages, motivating themes, and thought-provoking ideas and topics. He'll also help you become more aware and in harmony with your own life, giving you a better understanding of your place in the world and using your skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. You can find the show today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. You can also connect with the host on Instagram at Jerome Shaw. That's JROMESHAW on Instagram. Jerome Shaw with the Open Palm Podcast. Motivation, meditation, mentality. Go listen, download, and subscribe today.
There are no limits. There are only plateaus. And we must not stay there. We must go beyond them. Bruce Lee. Our only limitations are in our imagination. The only limitations are the ones that we place on ourselves. But what if limitations could take us places? What if we could find liberation in our own limitations? Follow me for a second as we view once again the subject of dopamine and what it does to our minds. And how, if you've ever found, like my friend who told me that she was doing so well, striving to change her habits, not being on social media all the time. And she had spent almost 8 to 10 hours off of social media when she got a text message from a friend. And as soon as she picked up her phone to check, boom, instantly, her finger touched Instagram, the social media, going in to check on the happenings of this platform. Now, why did her finger go and touch that app? Interesting, right? Do you ever feel like this? Like you are not the one in control. Of course, it's your body doing it. You're the one going into the application. But is it really you? If we are doing these things at the unconscious or subconscious level, who is in control? What programs might be running in the background? I had to find for myself when these things happen time and time again, where I would exit the application and find myself right back in the same situation, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, liking and scrolling and viewing and scrolling and watching and scrolling and listening and scrolling. And the sun would go down and the sun would come up and I would still be scrolling. If only there were a hidden camera watching me, watching my face, watching the little micro expressions I would make at whatever pictures or videos that I found myself consumed in, living vicariously through other people's lives, watching the world through other people's eyes, comparing myself, playing that game, right? To dream of the person you wish to be is to waste the person you are. You are already wonderful. Live your own movie. And when you're on these platforms that I don't believe in themselves are inherently bad, but the ways in which we use them can have an effect on our minds, our mental stability, our energy, our focus, and our time. So there's something on my phone that tells me the screen time. Because if we're doing these things at the unconscious level, then we cannot imagine how much time we actually spend on our devices. Ironically, of course, I'm talking to you through this device. But when I realized, looking at the stats, that I had spent 7 hours a day on my phone, looking at a screen, you can imagine my surprise. 7 hours? 7 whole hours? That's like a job, right? I'm working here. What is going on? So, understanding that I did not want to spend all this time in front of this screen unless I was doing something constructive, I started to place limits on these apps. I went into the application and placed an intentional limitation. 2 hours. 2 hours a day. Doesn't seem crazy, right? And at the 2-hour mark, my phone will notify me saying, hey, you spent 2 hours on this app. Wouldn't you like to close out? And it'll give me the option. Give me 1 more minute. Or, give me 15 more minutes. Or, the heck with it. But at least it will let me know that I'm already at my mark. I'm already at the limit that I placed. And I have found that the less time and energy I place on these applications, it gives me back so much. The feeling of freedom and liberation through enforced limitation. Placing a limit on ourselves, the habits that we want to lower, can be liberating. I believe that we can find more time to do the things that actually serve us, that actually fulfill us, make us feel accomplished, make us feel enough. Because I don't know about you, but when I'm scrolling that infinite scroll hole, looking at all these pictures or being absorbed in these frequencies, sometimes I can feel less than. But when I am with myself, in contemplation, in meditation, in nature, in the forest, bathing around trees, absorbing these negative ions, or just breathing, taking time to be with me, it's so exhilarating. But it wasn't always this way. It used to be that my dopamine receptors were so shot that reading a book caused me to doze off and go to sleep. Unable to finish even a few pages without getting suddenly drowsy, sleepy. And now, I'm reading whole chapters, feeling proud of myself and encouraged to learn more. Now, as I'm expanding my mind, not only do I have the want, the drive, and the determination to do these things, but I actually have the energy because it's not being diverted or split into so many areas. So once again, my friend, if you find yourself distracted, you may need a detox. Take it from me. I took 60 days off of social media, no technology, no electronics, no movies, no Netflix, no TV. Just me, myself, and I. It was one of the best things I ever did for my life, my time, and my energy. Try it for yourself and let me know how it goes. Thank you for listening, my friend. This has been Jerome Shaw on TOP, the Open Palm Podcast here in Baldwin Park, California. The open palm means harmony with the world, understanding our place in the world, using our skills accordingly, greeting the world with an open palm instead of a closed fist. I pray you received an encouraging message letting you know that your time is your time. And if you value time, or as Bruce Lee would say, if you love life, don't waste time, for time is what life is made of. Share this episode with a like-minded individual, learning and growing, becoming their greatest version each day just like you, honoring their time, respecting it. Pay it forward so more can hear the message. And if this is your very first time receiving this podcast, why not subscribe for more inspirational messages like this? And if you feel compelled to support, consider opening that browser to anchor.fm/jshaw. Supporting the podcast there is much appreciated. Thank you to all the wonderful donators, supporters, and contributors of the podcast. Much love to you, sending you love, light, and good energy. Have a wonderful and blessed day or night wherever you are. Check out the new book now on Amazon, Finding Inner Peace by Jerome Shaw. And take care, my friend. Hey there, my friend. So, you've heard about Anchor, but do you know why it's the easiest way to make a podcast? Well, first off, it's free. It allows you to use creation tools that let you record your podcast right from your phone or computer. It also distributes your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. You can even make money from your podcast with minimum listenership. It's everything you need in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started. Can't wait to hear yours. Let's see what you have to offer the world.